My name is Young. I'm with Alaska Photographic Center. This is the March Photographers Talk with Bob Hallinen today. Just a couple quick notes before we start. If anyone needs to use the bathroom here, it's outside and on this side of the room. Um, there's some drinks and muffins if anyone wants to help themselves. We also have opened our call for rarefied light. You can find information on how to submit on our website. That's available now. And just wanted to introduce Bob really quickly. He's worked in Anchorage as a photojournalist for a long time. Pulitzer Prize for public service in 1989 and a finalist again in 1990. So he'll be sharing some images and a little bit about his practice today.
All right, there we go. There's pictures. You want to see them bigger?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I've got a few things from the Daily News, but most of them are after the Daily News, but some of them are for the Daily News. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So moose. I shoot a lot of wildlife now, and for the paper, I shot wildlife. I started shooting moose for the paper, and just because I thought they were cool, and we used to sell prints for the paper. None of the other photographers shot moose much until they realized that people buy moose photos. So they started shooting moose a little more often. So this is down Turnagain Arm. Shot originally in color, converted to black and white. This was shot with the iPhone. A lot of the wide angle stuff I'm going to show you is iPhone. I generally have Nikon with me and iPhone, and I'll shoot iPhone, and stuff that I end up posting online on Instagram and Facebook. Just Google Bob Hallinen for Facebook, or search on Facebook for Bob Hallinen, or Instagram at Bob Hallinen Photo. But the photos are on my phone, so it's easy to do the wide angle stuff. So this is a picture of downtown Anchorage that's a little hyper real. Okay, it was a pretty nice sunset, looked good, but this is a little. It's more than if I turn this into Richard, he'd say, "What? No, we can't publish that." Sort of journalism has some pretty strict rules of what you can do and what you can't, and this is a little too worked for the paper. This is just a picture. This is a picture of clouds, and I like photographing clouds, and up in the valley, and so you can't go wrong with putting mountains and barns and silos in front of it. This is across from Potter Marsh. I spend a lot of time down in Potter Marsh and down along the arm. This is me slightly younger. This is my first photo job, working for the university photographer at Northern Michigan University in Marquette, Michigan. Wow. And it's Cheryl's hometown basketball team won, and I think I photographed them. This is the air show I photographed for the paper after I left the paper. I retired 5 years ago or so, but I still do assignments for them. Usually these days it's Saturday sports. By the way, if anybody has any questions in general or on specific pictures, just yell out and I'll try to make something up. Sure.
Move the stop share and the viewer screen sharing, move both, or is that?
I don't want to click stop share, but
Yeah. You gotta be careful.
We were watching everything. Okay, what happened?
oh, sorry. There was that bar up there that I was trying to get rid of.
Got it. Got it.
So in theory, it's gone now. So there, is that better? Just follow focusing, tracking the jet as it's going across the sky and happen to shoot when it's going across the sky. I just liked it. I don't know why.
Is that a guy with
Headphones,
protectors?
yeah, ear protectors. It's loud there. If you haven't been to the air show and you're gonna go to the air show, bring ear protectors. Actually, you can get them there too. But this is just a railroad picture, backlit. I like to shoot backlit stuff, silhouettes, and this is another train picture. This is down along the arm and sort of got right down next to these flowers. And I would have liked to maybe have the train in focus too, but it's a matter of, okay, do you increase the ISO so you can have a higher shutter speed? You're close to the flowers, so you want them flowers in focus for sure. So, or do you let the train go a little bit out of focus? Those are some of the things you think about when you're shooting.
So is that with the Nikon, not with your phone?
That's the Nikon. This is downtown. Bear is open. Alaska's open. I have a small drone. It's a DJI Mini Pro 3. It's small enough that it doesn't have to be registered, and I don't have a pilot's license for it, so I can't use it commercially. I can just use it for fun. And because of the angle of the light on this photo and the way it's oriented, it looks like the river this is out on mud flats, so turning an arm. It looks like it's raised. Okay. Not sure what happened there.
If you click on that photo mechanic in your upper right corner,
Okay.
lower right, isn't it that dark gray window that's behind?
Okay. There we go. All right, let's try this again. You wanted to see these pictures again? Oh, this is a couple of pictures from the Daily News. We went out to Bethel and went up to Kuskokwim River to fish camp, and this is a great time out there. It was really interesting pictures and salmon are, you can't go wrong with a salmon picture. They're beautiful even when they're gutted. He just had his 90th birthday. So this is out at Point Warrenzoff, and sort of people were photographing the moose. This is when they knocked down some trees right at the end of the runway and put in grass. And it seems like when when that happens, when new grass is planted, moose are there feeding on the first spring. Second spring, they're not so much, but I went and got behind to get people in moose. Most people, you know, when they look for wildlife, they look for wild background. And I just, from my journalistic background, I look for people or buildings or cars or some urban, you know, element to the photos. So I've got the cameras, you know, right down on the ground. This is out near Point Warrenzoff again, and I was just driving down and saw this bull moose there. It's in nice light, but I probably don't have time to stop, get out of my car. So I just grabbed my long lens and off the seat next to me and leaned out the window and shot. And you know, not too long after this, it sort of moved. I guess I can't show you those pictures as long as I'm talking too much, which
Okay.
nobody has. This is by Goose Lake, and the bear was in the lake and came out. I didn't get a picture of it came out. I walked up and saw the bear, but it came out. Anyways, walking down the trail and I heard there was some people in the park next door there, and I think it got startled by them, and it wheeled around and started coming towards me, but didn't come very far, and it veered off, and everything's fine. Cheney Lake, if you want grebes, Cheney Lake is grebe central. There's tons of nests all around the lake.
What lens did you use for that?
This was probably the 180 to 600 Nikon. I highly recommend that lens just because back in the day, I used Richard's 600 f4 lens, which the Daily News bought for me, and which is a great lens. It's one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used, but so when I left the paper, they didn't let me take it with me. But the what's that?
Indian givers.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty much mine.
Was this handheld?
It's probably with a monopod. I tend to not use tripod very much. With the long lens, I use monopod, and sometimes I'll have the monopod collapsed, and you know, with the 180 at 600, it's light enough that you can comfortably handhold it. And these days, I have a short zoom on one body and the 180 to 600 on the other body, and carry them around like that. It's dirt cheap for a 600 Nikon lens. It's a 5.6, but with these days with digital and the high ISOs that they produce, it's reasonable. Pick clouds, tourniquet arm.
Is that a longer exposure? The clouds just look surreal in that shot, like there's movement.
No, they just happen to look that way. So this was an owl. Some of these pictures, this owl was photographed a lot, sort of like the white raven. You know, it's diving for prey. There was sheep, a small band of sheep down along the arm, and I got up above them a little bit and sort of waited for the train to come. I didn't know if a train was going to come, but I was hoping the train would come, and hung out until the train came.
I have to get you a train schedule.
So, yeah, sheep schedule, you know. Light, just it's the photograph of light. I mean, it's obvious that photographs are about light, but they really are on another level. It's the quality of light and the sort of the shadows. So we had a Costco trip planned, and I don't remember, another photographer had photographed this nest, I think the year before, when it snowed, with the eagle sitting on it with snow. And I thought that was pretty cool. I missed it, but it's pretty cool. So, but I remembered. So we were gonna go to Costco, and so I, woke up and it's snowy, and okay, we have to go to Costco though. So my wife went to Costco. I dropped her off, and I went down to shoot the eagle's nest. This is out near the airport, and the sun is right behind the eagle. So I'm surprised my eyes aren't burned out by now, or my right eye, because I shoot, they say, don't look into the sun, especially with a long lens. But lining this up, I'm looking into the sun, and so this is down Powder Marsh, and there's a pair of sandhill cranes that were nesting out and back. And so I was photographing the cranes as they were flying across, and all of a sudden this eagle appeared in the frame. And they both were unscathed and left the field of battle.
Like a tango.
This is over near Chilkoot Charlie's. And they were sitting up in a tree, and so I photographed them sitting and just waited for something like this to happen. A lot of, especially wildlife photography and all photography, patience is probably one of your most important products. And everybody photographed the whale. This is with the 600 to compress it. So you definitely get the urban sense of it. This is another picture that's with the iPhone and worked. I use Snapseed, the app Snapseed, and and it creates cool pictures, but not reality, not anything that Richard would like.
We have a question of what iPhone are you using now?
I just got the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the most expensive one they have. Before that, I had the 13 Pro Max. This is one of the NOAA folks taking samples. That's Charles Mason. With the whale. Yeah. Well, I did bring him out there. I showed him where it was. So, but he's shooting a 120 film camera. Just Anchorage and fireworks. And here's another thing I spent quite a bit of time photographing, the destruction of the 4th Avenue Theater, which is a travesty. Not my photographs, but oh, maybe. But it was a well-built building. I mean, they struggled knocking that thing down. But I spent a bunch of time going down and So this reader board here is about the what a wonderful place the Fourth Avenue Theater is. And a little bit about Cap Braithup. There's the screen. There's the hole. It pretty much looks like that now, except snow in it. This was in rarefied light. This was before they knocked it down. So I was going down towards Powder Marsh and saw these geese on the side of the road and looked like they probably wanted to go across the road. So I drove past them a little ways and pulled off and got out and sort of waited for them to cross. This is that same owl that was diving in earlier. So sometimes, you know, you need patience and sometimes you need luck. I think it was Didier Lindsay who had been hanging around with this owl. This is a different owl, by the way, not the same owl as the last picture. But it was up near Westchester Lagoon, and he'd been there for quite a while, you know, photographing and, you know, waiting for it to do something. And I pull up and I get my camera out, and almost instantly the owl flies. It was on a stop sign, flies over to this railroad crossing. And so I just, you know, I pull up and shoot, and he's in a position where he doesn't get this shot. And I okay, you know, so sometimes just luck. So I've been shooting assignments for the paper, and mainly sports, Saturday high school sports. When I left the paper, I was thinking, man, one of the good things is I don't have to shoot high school sports anymore. But they pay me in.
Was that manual focus?
No, that's autofocus. My settings, I usually shoot autofocus almost exclusively. And the rest of the settings are manual, all set manual. This was the girls' state high schools hockey championships this year. Ice, nice ice. I shoot ice bubbles a lot, ice patterns. This is an Ann Rupp photo. This is my second best boss, Ann Rupp. Unless she's here, and then you're the first best. So this was at the paper, and Lance, I think this is Lance Mackey's first Iditarod win. And so it was a really cold end of the race, you know, out shooting him, finishing, and then went inside to the mini, and you know, he's talking to reporters and people, and his dad missed the end of the race. He didn't, you know, he's on Alaska Airlines flight, and he, you know, didn't get there in time to see the race. So he comes into the mini, and you know, and I've got two cameras, and I've got a wide angle on one, and you know, I really need a wide angle to do this picture, but I've been shooting with you know, 80 to 200 of just Lance talking to people, and this comes in and happens, and the other camera is still fogged up, you know, and so I'm wiping it off, and no, it's fogged again, you know, finally I got it clear enough. You can see around the sides that
Yeah.
there's, it's
It's a
sort of foggy.
historic shot, Bob.
It worked. This is the idea to start a couple years ago, I think, when real snow started. This is this year's Rondi fireworks. I was trying to look for different places to shoot the fireworks from, and you know, it's harder after you've done it for many years. But anyway, I've got the railroad building in this one, which I hadn't got before. So this is a picture that Richard would disapprove of.
I don't disapprove of it, I just wouldn't publish it.
Yeah, I did a story for the paper on neon signs, and so I've continued to photograph neon signs since then. It's a hooligan in the mud on Turnagain Arm.
You can tell people it's the whale.
Yeah, good. This is actually this was photographed by my son Hans.
Oh,
But this is in Roswell, New Mexico. This is at the museum. I've photographed this view probably just about every time I went to the museum for First Friday recently, in a number of years. And I've shot time-lapse video of this thing, which is, well, you've probably seen it because you all follow my Instagram post, right? I mean, this is in Marfa, Texas. You could tell that because it says Marfa, Texas there. Went down to my niece's wedding in Santa Fe. And then me and Hans drove down to Marfa. This isn't Marfa. But, so, you know, wildlife and urban is good. Framing is good too. Framing.
Bob, was that the loon that is by Lake
Good, yeah.
Hood there?
That's Lake Hood loon, yeah.
Did you see it this last summer?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I didn't photograph it much, but I think I'm pretty sure it was there. Yeah, I'm sure it was there. Sometimes you just look out your front window. So I like photographing down along the arm, and I like photographing mud along the arm, and I like black and white of the mud along the arm. More mud along the arm. It continually changes. I mean, and they're just so patterns are so interesting. And we're back in Marfa. This is Donald Judd, who is an internationally known artist, sort of a minimalist. This is an old military facility that he bought in Marfa, Texas, which is a small town, small Texas town. And these are brushed aluminum cubes. Subtle differences between them, but this space is filled with these cubes. And anyway, we went there. We went to Marfa because my son Hans, who's an art guy, wanted to go check it out. Black and white along the arm, mud, clouds, water, and mountains. Can't get better than that.
Do you usually shoot in color and convert?
Yeah, I always shoot color. I don't shoot black and white these days at all. It's always color and then convert. Ice along the arm. This is in back. We're back in Marfa. That's my son Hans, and so there are these barrack buildings, old barrack buildings in there, and Frank Flavin, who's the artist who created this. So there's a space here, empty walls, and then it makes a corner. And this is what you see once you make that corner. And there's 5 or 6 of these buildings, and it's basically that the light, the neon tubes are different colors, arranged slightly differently, and there's the barrack buildings were built in a U, so you have these 2 empty spaces, turn the corner, and then in blocking that thing are these. They're fluorescent, not neon. They're fluorescent tubes, and that's what it is. This is with the iPhone pano mode. The tide is coming in. Mariana Gonzalez at the show at the university. I asked to do a portrait of him, and
I'm glad you showed this one. Do you like just walk around for hours to find a place where the tracks are gonna light up like that and you know what's coming? Because it's like, okay, I can get a sunset like that. And it's like, how do you get the light on the tracks, you know? And just, that's not luck. You're out there walking around for hours, aren't you?
oh yeah, it's. I mean, I'm
He
spending.
doesn't walk, he shoots from his car.
I've tried.
I
think
did
that's
get out
one-
of the car. I walked across the street and just.
I think I tried to find a spot like this and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, there's several spots where you know, I mean, and it depends on the time of the year, because it's, you know, the sun will
Yeah.
be moving, and so no, I'm driving down the road and there's clouds that are cool,
Yeah.
and the tracks are
Tracks are turning. And
get some, you know, curves in the track, and they're, you know, the sun is right there, so they're shining, tracks are shining, and you just you know, so I had to go up a bit ways and find a place to pull off so I could turn around and come back, and then come back, and then turn around again, and then come back and park alongside the highway. And I had to walk all the way across the road, and you know,
A lot farther.
and you know, sometimes these things are, you know, okay, something is likely to happen here, and if I go here, you know, and I wait, something's might happen, and sometimes they're just driving down, and you know, I mean, I'm looking for this thing. I'm looking at the tracks. When I go down there, I've been down the Tourniquet Arm hundreds and hundreds of times. So I have a good idea of what, you know, what to look for. This is down Tourniquet Arm this year when we had that really cold weather. and, you know, converted to black and white and worked it in Snapseed so that, you know, got the tones I want. Couple of moose and northern lights. This is in the neighborhood. Airplane and northern lights. Oh, I don't remember who. We used a picture a while ago. It's been a long time ago now, but somebody submitted a picture of a float plane at Lake Hood with northern lights. And I was relatively recently talking to him about it, and I don't remember now who it was.
Wasn't Rob, was it?
No. But anyway, I basically stole this picture from him because that's where the idea came. That, I mean, we live over near, you know, Lake Hood, but when I went out to look for northern lights, I never particularly went over there until I saw that picture. And okay.
Todd Salat has an iconic photo of that he's shown a lot.
Oh yeah, that's who it was.
At
Yeah.
Todd, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I was talking to him. I'm supposed to walk 30 minutes a day, and occasionally, rarely, I go over to the Diamond Mall and walk. And it was when he had his gallery up there before Christmas. That's when I was talking to him. More mud, tourniquet arm. It's a portrait at UAA, self-portrait at UAA. Is the comet and the plane at Lake Hood. Same plane, yeah. It's over by the Millennial. What is it called? The Millennial now?
Yeah.
And so one winter when I was doing my walk around the neighborhood, it was a lot of wind that particular winter, and so I did a series of Christmas decorations and Santas laying down as they got blown over. I just have one of them here. Oh no, do I have another one? No, I don't. Selfie. It was down near Kenai. I mean Soldotna. It's north of Soldotna. And that's my son Hans. Not the skeleton, but the guy with the camera. There's more train tracks.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones I was trying to find.
That's in the same place. Sunny day in Whittier. I mean Portage. That was in Verified. Photographers with the White Raven. Homeless guy walking by the International Gallery downtown. This scene looked exactly like that. Another portrait of Mariano Gonzalez. Me and Hans went, visited his workshop at home. He's got a pretty cool workshop. He's got some Some cool tools. Fear and Loathing in Anchorage. Ice. Another picture of Mariano. So this was with the iPhone. It's cropped a fair amount with the iPhone, but they shot it with Nikon and iPhone. But this was in rarefied too. So this is the other version of this that you just saw a little bit ago was worked with Snapseed, and this was really worked with Snapseed. This was shot for the paper, and this is what's her name? Katie John. Thank you. Yeah. So here's the original. So this is a cool picture, pretty much straightforward, but Richard wouldn't use this one because you notice how tight it is up at top in that one. And I use Photoshop to just fill in that stuff. I mean, it looks real. It doesn't look weird at all. But just because it doesn't look weird, if it is weird, it's not going to make the paper. Another Snapseed, Spinard. I think this was in rarefied too. It's all about light.
Yeah.
This is down Portage.
So what is the source of light for that?
We've got these 4 huge.
I knew that was coming.
Just the sun just happened to, it's breaking through clouds, so it's just hitting those trees.
First thing, it was just a gas station.
This is the last, not this recent lunar eclipse, but the one before that. It's out by the airport and on a tripod, and so a jet taking off. Oh, that's such a good picture. We'll show it again. This guy was walking his dog and he wasn't. This was the cover of the Flip Todd's calendar that you all bought, of course. So I'm downtown, following these moose there, and so they're by, okay, this is going to be a cool picture here, and they're, I'm getting pictures of them by these totems and by the courthouse, and it's really cool. And this lady comes along, and she takes some pictures with her phone, and I take some pictures with my phone too, and with the Nikon. And so she wants, and it's just about this time, and she wants me to take a picture of her with the moose. And, and they're right getting into this position. And, and the thing is that, as you're all photographers, that it's this one, this may be this one frame in this whole series that's the photograph. And I'm trying to explain that to her, and she was having none of it. She was upset with me. But Another neon sign at Larry Allen's tattoo parlor. Oh, another license plane. I think this was with the iPhone. It's amazing you can, shoot a 3-second exposure with the iPhone. Native Youth Olympics. So the National Press Photographers have a clip contest where anything published in a month, you can send it in, and then for all the papers in your region, they're judged. And I think this won a second or third place. And the judges said, if that face would have been sharp, it would have been first place. This is for the paper. This is
The face is sharp.
so this is pretty cool. Brewer otters and a immature bald eagle at Westchester Lagoon. Powered paragliders at Potter Marsh. Swans and Arctic tern at Potter Marsh. So I spent, especially the first year when the swans nested at Potter Marsh, I spent a lot of time there.
Was the tern harassing him?
Yeah. The swans were, it had a nest near there, and they were swimming by it, so their tern was diving on it.
Oh.
So nice setting sun, except it's reflecting off probably Richard's house lights, windows up on the hillside. So this is a picture that I knew I wanted to get when I left the house. This is the year when fires were out west, and the smoke was, and so, the sun was going to be red, and there's no clouds, and there was a tern nest that was right next to the railroad tracks. So I, went across the railroad tracks, and I wanted a version of this picture. And then this is just luck. Shorebird and a mallard just happened to, as everybody took off, just happened to line up. Oh, and white ravens. So I spent a lot of time photographing the white raven along with Mike Lewis. But I photographed ravens for many years, and shot them a lot. And so when the white raven showed up, I couldn't not shoot the shit out of it. So this is one of the first few white raven pictures I made. This is over by the Daily News, across the street from the Daily
First
News.
showed up, huh?
Yeah, that's the first I was aware of it, when I was by the Daily News. So Julie Decker at the museum got a hold of me and asked if I wanted to do a slideshow projected onto the museum, which was cool. But and she paid me money for it, but it's not a good venue for seeing. some of the pictures that were, you know, up there, it's just, okay, what is that? You know, and, but it's cool.
Was it too much ambient light, like street lights that was washed out?
Well, really the only place to see them was right in front, the sidewalk right in front of the museum. I mean, you know, right in front of the doors. So you're, you know, you're too close. And I talked to them about, you know, there's a sidewalk around the lawn out front. And I talked to them about, you know, maybe, and it was snowy, you know, that year there was lots of snow. And so they had, you know, plowed it that year and hadn't shoveled those sidewalks. And I talked to her about, you know, maybe shoveling that so that you get better view there. But she didn't want to do that because she didn't want to encourage people to be out there, because that little building where the projector was, you know, and she didn't encourage people to hang out near there and maybe get the idea that they should steal this, you know, $20,000 projector. So anyway, but it was cool, and I got money out of it. Oh, and this was rarefied light. This was best of show in rarefied light.
This one or the last one?
This one.
I was pleased to purchase that from the show.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
And then you said you shot this from your car, I think.
I did. I rolled down the window.
Just don't tell me it was iPhone.
No, it was with the Nikon. It was with the Nikon. Actually, the car is, you know, for urban wildlife, you know, car is a great blind, because the animals, they're used to cars. They don't care about cars. I mean, you can get really close to stuff and they generally don't care because they're so used to it. You know, they're used to having people, but so I was up in the valley once, going down road out towards the prison out there, and, you know, going down the gravel road, and I see this moose up ahead. Oh, well, stop and photograph the moose, you know, thinking it's like in Anchorage, you see a moose alongside the road and it just continued to be there. And so I pull up, I get up just about up to it, and it sort of looks up and it's gone. It just beat feet. So. There's no white ravens in this photograph. So I was slightly jealous or miffed or something, I don't know. Because I've been photographing ravens for years, and, you know, and shooting them a lot. And then, you know, the white raven shows up and everybody's discovers ravens and photograph the white ravens, but other ravens too. And, you know, no, those are my ravens. Damn it. The Mac raven. So sometimes it's planning and luck. Yeah, the raven was sitting on a light pole, and okay. So if I go here and it, you know, launches this way, maybe I'll get the moon in the picture too. But, you know, it could go the other way, you know, or it could come this way, or it could go that way. And so you say, okay, I think it's going to go this way. And sometimes it does. Dumpster driving. Did you ever find the fox down there?
No, I only went out that one time.
Yeah, this is down South Anchorage. And this is the most photographed fox in Anchorage.
Maybe the world.
Maybe the world. Yeah, and I haven't really been there this year, but a couple years ago I spent a lot of time looking for the fox. And the thing is that you gotta go there, and sometimes you walk up and there's the fox. Sometimes you walk up and there's no fox, and so you hang out and quite a while, and the fox may appear. And so it's patience again. This is a slow shutter speed flash. And this was for the paper, and I don't remember what the event was, but so again, I like the urban man-made. This is Westchester Lagoon. Sled dogs here. This is for Rondi. Oh, this year was pretty cool because this is the first. I think it's the first time I know of, anyway, that they started 2 mushers at once. They went down to Mulcahy Stadium and then came back. So they did, like, the first day they did 2 mushers started, and then 1 musher started, and then 2 more mushers started, and those guys finished, and then they did another wave.
Oh.
And they did that. At least one of the trail guards was saying that they did that way to lessen the number of head-on passes. There were still head-on passes, but they did it to. So this is my ode to Charles Mason. He has a photograph from the North American of I don't remember what, there's a fast food chain. Anyway, there's a team coming. I think it's on the Chena River at that point, but there's a fast food restaurant chain in the background, and I always liked that picture. This is Cordova Corner, which is like Iditarod start. If I wasn't shooting the race that year, if you're shooting the race that year, during the start you shot right downtown in the corral area and at the start line. But if it wasn't, I generally mostly shot Cordova Corner and down Cordova Street. I think this was from it wasn't this year, this is last year's running with the reindeer. And so, I mean, there's just a number of things about this thing that just work. You got one running with the reindeer, and you got the lady with, short sleeves on, and then you got the sign there, the Alaska reindeer sausage sign in the background.
Oh, there's reindeer in there. Okay.
And it's snowing, and then you've got this sort of diagonal line that's going through it, and it just incredible amount of talent to pack that many things in a single
You got
photograph.
the reindeer's mouth mimicking hers. I don't know how you.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, with Photoshop, you can, yeah. Fourth Avenue Theater, late great. So this is down at Homer. And I'm photographing a couple of sandhill cranes that were right at the base of the spit feeding, and so I'm laying down and photographing them, and you know, they decide to take off, and then this flight of ducks come in at the same time. So just planning. So this is from this year's 1A state basketball championships. The small school basketball championships are always fun to shoot because the fans are really, really into it. They, you know, small schools, they love basketball. This was is a Daily News picture from some skiing event, which I don't remember now what it was. But I think they were coming in. It might have been where it might have been, looks like West High, but might have been where they were switching skis from, you know, classic to cross to the other thing. Skate skis. There you go. This is from this year's Mayor's Marathon, which I shot for the paper.
Is that Lance Leekander, number 336? By chance? I don't know, kind of looks like Lance.
I don't remember now. I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. I can. This is ice. I photograph a lot of ice. This is at Lake Hood in the spring, and the ice is starting to deteriorate. I think this is from this year. So I'm glad I don't have to shoot sports anymore. Did you send me on this trip, or did Ann send me on this trip?
I think Ian sent you in this one.
Well, what good are you?
I wasn't much good.
So this was the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Research Vessel Tekla. This is a trip out the Aleutians, and we went out as far as a 2 and stopped in various places. But this is at I think Balder Island, and there's least stocklets, and they don't know how many birds are nesting there. I mean, how do you count millions of birds? But there's so in the evening, they sort of en masse take off, and you have these huge flocks of birds just flying around. It's pretty cool. But that was a great trip. We stopped at various islands out along the chain, and
Did you shoot that from a Zodiac or from
yeah,
Island?
it's from Zodiac. This is down Turning an Arm. This is down just past Girdwood, and the swans were feeding, and you know, and then they decided to take off, and I'm shooting, and I'm thinking, well, it's pretty much done with it. They're getting too far away, but I kept shooting and sort of, this is somewhat cropped, not a huge crop, I don't think, if I remember right, but so never stop shooting, even if you think it's over, because pixels are cheap. Oh, this is such a good photo that I wanted to make sure you saw it twice. It's the guy downtown. I just asked him if I could make his picture for no reason other than I thought it'd make a cool photo. This is so you can see the puck right above his glove, the goalie's glove on the stick. Yeah.
It's a great hockey shot. Are you shooting those motor drive?
Yeah, these days, I've got it, like the long lens, I've got I have on the Z9, Nikon Z9. And I don't remember now what the frame rate is. It's not the highest frame rate you can do, but it's so basically anytime I touch the shutter, I fire 3 shots. And I basically have it on all time. I mean, if I'm shooting a scene, it's just, say ice, that it's not moving, the light isn't changing, nothing's happened. I hit the shutter and there's 3 pictures taken. And I do that just because I don't, I don't want to have the cameras, I'll forget to switch it when I'm shooting this owl, that I want to have that high frame rate. So.
Do you use back button focus? Or do you just focus with the shutter?
With just the shutter. Yeah. And the way I've got it set up, I've got this fairly big box that's focused on, and it gets me in trouble sometimes because, especially in sports, if there's some action going on and somebody's in front, I'll catch that guy in front a little bit in this huge box. And, I should learn my camera a little bit better. And when I'm, get a smaller focus point for, if I'm shooting, say, high school sports where other players are coming across in front of you. But I'm too lazy to do that, I guess.
Which body do you use?
I have a Z9 and a Z7 II. So generally that's it. Generally I'll have the 180 to the 600 on the Z9, and then either what's this one? This is a 14 to 30, or then 24 to 200. Generally, I'll have 24 to 200 on the Z7 too, just because I'm generally, going to be shooting the long lens, more action pictures, and so I'll leave that on, and the reason I got the Z9 is because it was the most expensive one, and Stewart's needed the money. And the reason I got the Z7 II is because Stewart's was having a sale on it. And it had the large file size and was, $1,000 off.
So Bob, can you talk about your motivation a little bit? You have made your living taking pictures your whole life and you're really old.
You should know.
I do. Can you talk about your infatuation with Powder Marsh and Turning an Arm and the motivation to continue to go down there and shoot when there's not much remuneration for it?
You mean no remuneration?
Yeah, that would be another way to put it.
Yeah, well, I've got fairly good training in that, working for newspapers where there wasn't a great deal of remuneration. You know, if you're looking for money, newspapers aren't the gig.
So I've heard.
But you know, I'm a photographer. That's who I am. I mean, and you know, I loved working for newspapers, and photojournalism I loved doing it, you know, but to some extent it was an excuse to have a job where my job was to take pictures. And you know, well, there's some of it, I still do a lot. I go out, most days I go out and photograph something, whether it's, and a lot of times it's depending on the time of the year, but you know, I go down to Powder Marsh or Turnagain Arm, or look for white raven, or you know, and it just I like taking pictures. I like doing it. I mean, I've photographed Turnagain Arm, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times now, and I photographed these mountains, peaks, a lot. And I go down there and, you know, there's interesting clouds around that peak, you know, or the light is cool, or, you know, and I just like doing it. And my identity is as a photographer. And if somebody's going to pay me for it, that's cool. But now, I mean, you know, with the various, you know, Social Security and, you know, pension from McClatchy and that sort of thing. And, you know, we had a 401k, you know, so we're probably as good, better off financially as we were when I was at, you know, at the paper. So I don't need the money. We don't have a lavish lifestyle. And I like doing it. And Darlene likes me out of the house. Yeah.
Do you find you're photographing different things or spending your time in a different way, like spending more time editing, or what's changed since you've retired in that respect?
Well, it's probably, you know, probably less time editing, because, you know, with the paper, when I went out and shot something, you know, it had to be edited, and usually that as soon as I got back to the paper, or from the, you know, during the digital age, from wherever I was. So if I shot something, it generally had to be edited the minimum that evening. These days, I'll go out and shoot something, and, you know, if there's something good that I got on the phone, I'll find, you know, a picture to post on the social media. And so I've got hundreds of takes that I've shot with the Nikon. that I've downloaded and sort of, page through, like, sort of maybe open one up. And they all seem to be there, and are, and that's as far as I've got with them. But there's hundreds of takes that,
And
So-
will you get to them eventually? Or-
I don't know. Depends on when I die.
Are any of us
I have
caught up?
one heart attack already, so,
Who amongst us is caught up?
Yeah.
And I'm not, it's not like I have a plan to, or say, oh, okay, I'm gonna spend an hour a day, editing takes or something. I just, and there's two things that allow me to continue to photograph as much as I do. So I photograph a lot. I'm retired, but I'm not dead. And I'm a photographer, so I'm gonna shoot. But sort of one digital, so I can, laptops are not cheap, and you got to buy cards and that, and you got to buy hard drives. Got to buy a lot of hard drives if you shoot as much as I do. But it's still cheaper than film. So if it was film days, I wouldn't be doing it much because I couldn't afford to buy film and have it processed. And then I have some place to share my photos. I mean, if it's not published, is it really a photograph? So the fact that there's Instagram and Facebook, which, that's basically really all I post on those two platforms is photographs.
Seems like you're more than anybody I know, you do it for yourself. I mean, if there wasn't an Instagram and there wasn't a Facebook, I think you would still be out there taking pictures.
I probably would, but it wouldn't be as rewarding or as compelling to do. I mean, it's not that I have that many followers either, but it's just, actually I do it for you, Mike.
I'm the first one to like most of them.
I crave your likes. So, but I go out, I shoot most days, not every day, but they'll like the whale. Okay, when the whale first beached, I went out there a lot. The whale was cool because I get my walk in and I photographed the whale. And then the White Raven, and then the Fourth Avenue Theater. So there'll be, or the Fox. So I'll spend time going down to this place, and then tourniquet arm is a perennial thing, and then ice in spring and fall, especially. I'll look for ice, and then Potter Marsh at, birds.
Do you go out and strike out often? Go out, get nothing, come back?
Never.
That's why I don't shoot no pictures, but I do that all the time. It's like fishing. You go to a hole, they're not biting, so you go home. They're northern lights, they're not out tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's something like Northern Lights. If you go looking for Northern Lights, if it's not there, you're not going to get a picture of it. But I'll shoot something anyway. There'll be something out there that I photograph, and so there's times when where I'll go out and not get something I'm super excited about, but there's very few times where I'll go out and not get something that's, oh, that's worth putting on social media. And actually, I don't. This started when I was still at the paper, but Evan Steinhauser, who used to be at the paper, now he's working for the railroad now. But we have this thing where we text photos of quirky things, but a lot of it is found faces, sort of inanimate objects that aren't meant to be faces, but there's a face in there. So, when I was at the paper, when I went out on assignment, if I found a found face, it was a successful assignment.